Hello sailors and welcome to Sail Smarts, the start line. This week I'm going to be talking about everything that makes up the basics of a start line, things you might see like flags, things you might hear, and the top tips that you're going to need to have a great time on the water. The first thing I want to say is that you don't have to be a racer to enjoy sailing. I learned to sail when I was about 11 and I didn't start racing until I was 20. And some of the best senior instructors I've ever coached with haven't been racers. So don't worry if it's not something that tickles your fancy. But it might be something that we all need to know about. In the same way that when we walk through the park and we see a game of football, we don't necessarily want to walk through a penalty shootout.
Whoops!
When we're sailing and we see a race start, we don't really want to sail through the start of a race. So whether you're a racer or not, these are some of the key things to know whether to start the race or whether to give some other people a little bit of room and we can all enjoy the water together. So the basics of a race are going to start ashore and you're going to need to know what boat you're sailing with, where the race is going to start and the race course. Some people like to write this down and keep it with them on the water, but for your first race, hopefully there'll be a few people around to give you a hand. Races start with a start line, a bit like the 100 meters. However, you don't get given a lane. You can go wherever you want. You also don't have a standing start. So in 100 meters, you wait, blow the whistle and you run. In sailing, you're allowed a running start. And what that means is you get given a countdown and you sail around, and you can get going at full speed and cross the line on go. So you're already going at maximum speed. Now, this has to be the case for the practicalities of sailing, but the beauty of it is if you're good at starting, you can get a step ahead on the competition. So what would it look like when we get to our start line? Well, largely there's two things to look out for, and that will be the committee boat and the pin end. So the committee boat is a boat. It's probably a power boat. It could be a yacht, and it will normally be waving an orange flag. And this means it is the committee boat. Now the pin end, that is another name for a buoy, but this buoy is quite specific and it's going to be at the other end of the start line. So between our committee boat and the pin end buoy, that is the starting line. And it's that line that you're going to have to cross to start your race. The pin end can normally be spotted because, like the committee boat, it will be waving an orange flag. Now, if this is your first race and you're a bit unsure, try and find an instructor or a helpful person at your club to point these things out to you. The start line will be set up flat so that we can cross that line and sail upwind towards our first mark. So that might help you in finding out which is the committee boat and which is the pin end. The other thing to find will be your first mark. So have a look around on the water. Know which mark is the first one to sail to so you know where you're going once the race starts. Now, we talked about having a running start for a sailing race. Now, the way that this happens is there are flags and there are horns. And most people will time these with a 5 minutes to go, 4 minutes to go, 1 minute to go, and go. These timings are actually represented by some flags. The sounds of the horn just let you know that the flag has gone up, but it's the flag that is king. So, at each point, a flag is going to do something different. At 5 minutes to go, the first flag to go up will be what we call the class flag. Now, this will be your class, your race that's going to start. And it's saying in 5 minutes' time, it's your turn to go. The reason that we have the class flag is in clubs and that sort of thing. Sometimes there's more than one race happening. So you'll need to know which class is your start. Memorize that flag or take a picture on the water so that you know when that flag goes up, that's my time to get ready. A class flag are often the numerals, so 1, 2 or 3, or some classes will even have their own flag, flying their own class emblem. 4 minutes to go, the next flag will go up. And this will also be accompanied by a horn. This flag is the preparatory flag. And normally it's the P flag, the blue Peter. People have got different names for it, but this is what it looks like. And this means 4 minutes to go get prepared, get ready. The Blue Peter is most commonly used because it means that if you have a little bit of a troubled start and you're over the line before go, don't panic, just go back beneath the line and start again. But there are other flags that might appear instead of the Blue Peter. One of these flags is called the black flag, and this is when you've been a little bit naughty. Now, when I sail, normally we get the Blue Peter, and if too many people are over the line, they'll start again to make it fair. But the next time they won't put up the Blue Peter, they'll put up the black flag, and the black flag can be bad news. If you're over the start line and the black flag is flying, when the whistle goes, you will be disqualified. Now that can be a little bit scary, and so most people take a little bit of a step back and just guarantee that you're not that person that's over the line. The final flag that I think is common to come up instead of the Blue Peter as a preparatory flag is the U flag, and it looks like this. Now, this flag is similar to the black flag in that it's a little bit of a you've been naughty flag, but it gives you a get out of jail free card. It means exactly the same as the black flag in that if you're over when the gun goes, you are going to be disqualified. However, if you're over when the gun goes, but for whatever reason that race is restarted, you're allowed to restart and you're not disqualified. So we've got the Blue Peter. That's a good flag. Give it a go. If it doesn't go well, go back round and start again. You've got the U flag. That means that if you're over, you're disqualified unless everything restarts. And we've got the black flag, which means if you're over, you're disqualified. Even if there's a restart, unfortunately, you'll need to sit that one out. The next flag to move will be at 1 minute to go. And the preparatory flag, whichever one was put up, will come down at 1 minute. Finally, at the go, your class flag, whichever class flag was yours, will come down, and that will be your signal to sail across the line and have a fantastic race. Now, at the go, it could be that things haven't gone quite as well as planned. Maybe the tide has messed everything up, and the race officer needs to say, that wasn't very fair, let's start again. And they will put up the general recall flag, and this will be accompanied by an extra horn. When this flag comes up, you need to sail back round and the race sequence will start again. It might be that instead of a general recall for everybody, an individual recall will be called. And that means that 1 or 2 people perhaps were over the line and they need to come back and start again. Okay guys, final flag for us to know is the postponement flag. Now this is a long skinny flag and it has vertical stripes of red, white, red, white, red. And this means pause, wait, something's happening and we're not starting the race right now. It could be that you get out on the water and maybe the wind dies. There's not enough wind to start the race. Could be that we just postpone just for 10 or 15 minutes, the wind picks up and we're ready to go again. That's how we start the race. So just a couple of top tips from me if it's your first race. Now, my little sailing mantra when I'm racing is sail fast and stay out of trouble. And all that means is concentrate on your boat. Make sure your sail's pulled in for upwind. Make sure your dagger board is pulled up for downwind. And concentrate on your boat just sailing along. Staying out of trouble, well, it just means don't go looking for other boats to bump into. You see a lot of boats in one small space, steer clear. There's no point getting into a big scrap on your first race. With the start line, it's gonna get a little bit crowded. And this is where your top sailors in the club are gonna be jostling for position. If it's your first race or you're a little bit unsure, just hang back, be a little bit further away and allow them to argue over the start line and for you to go behind them and enjoy the race. That's all for us guys. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. If you've got any questions, pop them into the comments and we'll see you again soon. All the best.